You're oh yeah.
Yo,
Welcome back to Wook Plus Live every Wednesday, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. And let's send a shout out to our man, the world's greatest Chad, for his beautiful vocal stylings at the end of
a
the
shout
intro.
out.
A shout out. Kev.
I
Kev
live in
Lingo.
Baltimore. Leave me
Kev
alone.
Lingo. Well, it's
So,
funny. Well, let's just address the comment right now. Somebody commented was trying to diss us last week in the comments on the show or like the post comments and said that our AI doesn't even pronounce the show title right. First of all, it's not AI. It's an actual real human being, Mr. Chad. And second of all, the show is called Live. Come on now. Where have you been the last 5 years, 4 years? Sheesh.
Exactly.
Real ones know. Anyway,
so we don't have Tim with us tonight. He might stop in. He's a family man and he's got family stuff to do. So what we're gonna do is not have a set list.
summer vacation. He's getting back from summer vacation. You know, it's hard to just come right back and start it up again. So we'll see. Hopefully he drops in, but if not, you got the A squad of Kev and I and Llama running the producing in the background. So we're good.
I guess since we're here without him, why don't we jump in with this MTV news? Since you and I were grown up on MTV news, they've taken away the whole one-line archive of everything. Llama, if you want to talk, you should come in and join us.
I just have one question about MTV News.
Go ahead.
What is the most memorable story that you remember seeing breaking?
Kevin and I talked
MTV
about this.
News?
Kevin and I talked about this yesterday when we were discussing it amongst ourselves, and we both said the same thing. Kurt Cobain dying. That's where I learned that Kurt Cobain had died. Like, it was breaking on MTV News, and it came on, and that I'll never forget that. That was a huge story for me on MTV News. And honestly, I always looked forward to their little MTV News breaks in between when they used to play music videos all the time and have like, this is Kurt Loder with MTV News. Like, it was like a staple of watching MTV. And then through the years, you know, I mean, Kurt Loder was the guy. He was always on it for the most part, but it's crazy that it's gone. I mean, they also just did that to Comedy Central, and they did it to the Country Network as well. All the Viacom, Paramount owned things like that. It seems like they're purging and putting them on Paramount Plus, because if you don't know, an insider story of the business right now, Paramount was going to be sold, and the woman that owns it, her family that owns it, Summer Redstone's, I guess, wife, daughter, I can't remember now. She backed out of the deal because it was actually good to back out of the deal because she was going to get a lot more than the shareholders were going to get, and it wasn't a great deal. So they backed out the day of it was supposed to close. They pulled the plug on the deal. So they decided to restructure it themselves and try to make it profitable themselves. And I guess now part of that whole thing is moving this catalog onto Paramount Plus and trying to get people to join Paramount Plus to see that. But as we read in the Comedy Central article today, all of it's not even on there. Like, it only goes back a few years or whatever, and they're not even putting it all on there yet. Hopefully maybe it all gets on there. But I mean, you just erased 30 35, 40 years of MTV News gone? Like all of that? Yes, Tabitha Soren, exactly. Totally. I mean, it's crazy that it's gone. Like, what the hell? What happened to like having a catalog and an archive and things like that? I mean, I don't know how much you'd go back and watch it, but it still was nice to nostalgic sake and stuff to have it there. I don't know. It's a very weird ploy. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. It's a shame that our history is just being erased, basically. I mean, I'm sure people have bits and pieces of it, but nobody has bothered to save everything.
They
so
stole
to speak,
Jerry's
you know?
throne.
Right.
Jerry's throne got stolen, amongst other things. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's one of those archive things. You know, I don't know. You like to see
Like
it.
the Comedy Central thing, my first thought is I'm reading that article and it's like in an effort to push people over to Paramount Plus, and I'm like, I ain't paying even $5.99 a month to watch Comedy Central on Paramount Plus. I'm sorry, I'm just not. You're gonna make more money showing me ads watching it on the website.
Right, and some of it's still on YouTube, but again, not the whole collection that was on the website. Plus, I mean, it's not. It can't be a cost issue because what does it cost to run a website and keep that stuff up there? Nothing when you're a billion-dollar company either. So I don't know. It just sucks. It's just one of those things that's stupid. And hey, there's Chad. Hey, Chad, we were just talking about you and your awesome VO at the beginning. You got accused of being an AI robot in last week's comment.
You have a future in AI.
yeah, that's right. You know, they don't know the difference between a human and AI anymore. So we'll never use AI for our openings. It's real humans making the music and saying the titles. That's how we do it.
Yep. So, all right. There's not really much more to say. It's sad that we're losing the MTV News.
It's sad, and I think it definitely was a generational thing, Kev. I think to Llama's point. I don't know, Llama, do you remember anything on MTV News that broke when you were heard anything? No?
Aaliyah dying.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It does seem like they were good at breaking deaths.
And it was also it was the way you were getting the most up-to-date news back then, because the only other place would be a Rolling Stone, and that came out once a month.
And this was also, somebody mentioned reality TV killing it. This was also way before you had 15 news magazine shows at night like Extra. And I mean, the only thing that was around really was Entertainment Tonight. And sometimes that didn't report on the same things that you were getting on MTV News about things in the music industry and the music world. So it was kind of that only conduit to that world and that kind of news. So, but yeah, it's crazy. I mean, MTV even back then, I mean, we always wax nostalgic and talk about the days when they actually used to play videos, and we all know like how that changed and stuff. But the news was one of those things too, and all those shows. You know, we were talking about VJs the other day, and all the different like Yo MTV Raps and Headbangers Ball and like all that fun stuff that they actually used to have before it all went
Thanks
away.
for 13 good years, MTV.
Right? Like, I mean, it did shape a generation of kids and music lovers.
Till the mid-late 90s, it completely fell apart. Once they started doing the Real World or the Real Life, whatever that was called.
Road Rules, the Real World, and then later with the Jersey Shore shit and like all that stuff that just totally... Yeah, 120 minutes.
How do you get that?
The spring break shows were great. Yo MTV MTV Sports with Dan Cortez. I remember that.
You're like, all right, we're called music television. What should we get into? Let's get into reality shows.
It definitely like sort of became more of a pop.
The VH1 became the go-to spot.
Yeah. Well, then they did the great, like, behind the musics and stuff. Those were
the pop-up video. Pop-up video was the greatest thing ever.
Storytellers. Oh, and even when MTV did the acoustic things, like the Eric Clapton acoustic thing was great. I know you hate Eric Clapton, but Eric Clapton.
The Unplugged, right?
The Unplugged stuff, that was awesome. Nirvana Unplugged was fantastic.
They still do it.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That was
How
awesome.
about that? MTV's still on the air?
There's two of them. There's an MTV too, and there's like a classic MTV that actually does play videos. If you can find that randomly on,
But there's no news.
there's no more. There's no more news. And
No more.
Remember the beginning of it when they had the thing, the typewriter, like go
Right.
MTV News. God, man, waxing nostalgia. Fun times. Fun. Liquid Television. Yes. Eon Flux on Liquid Television.
Beavis and Butthead.
I mean, MTV had a lot of shit going on for a long time before it like turned to trash. You know, like totally. That was great. Yeah, see, Christian, like, look at all these people in the comments that know. You guys all.
So we're gonna go with choose your own adventure here.
Oh boy, Kev's taking us down the road.
We can either go with Fuego 10 years later or the Dead and Company World Roundup.
Oh boy. Let's go. Well, let's talk Fuego real quick, and then that could lead us maybe into the Trey article, and then articles can lead us into the Dead and Co stuff. See, we kind of have a roadmap. See how Kevin I do that? It's not all crazy lost out there.
So Fuego turned 10, and we're thinking back on it. Some of the songs on there I feel like really stood up as studio songs, but I think overall it's pretty much a clunker.
The album or the songs on the album being played live?
The album itself. I don't think that Ezrine did them any favors as a producer when that or the Big Boat album.
Okay. Aren't you a big fan of The Line, though?
Some of the songs are strong. Sing Monica, I mean.
I don't know,
There's a few on there. I mean, even like Waiting All Night's not bad. Wombat Mo, Wingsuit, whatever. Fuego, obviously. I like how it's the title track, too. Was that the first song released off of it, too? Maybe that's a theme, like what they did with Evolve. Because isn't it Evolve the first song on the thing,
Did they even release singles back then, though?
10 years ago? Come on. That wasn't that long ago.
I don't think that they did, though, because that wasn't in vogue. That's like a thing that started with COVID, I feel like, where bands were like, we can release a single every month and have something new out every month. It
says one track, Waiting All Night, was released on NPR's website on May 14th, 2014, along with a complete track listing. And then a second song, Your Song, The Line, was released online for streaming on May 27th, 2014. And then
Waiting All Night was what they felt like encapsulated the album, if that's the first one you release, huh?
And then 555 was released on YouTube on June 12th, 2014. How about that? So, I don't know. I think to your point, though, the heavy hitter off of it was the title track, Fuego. That's still, I think, the best song, I guess you could say, that I like hearing live off of it, so to speak.
I tell you what, in the year 2020, on this same week, we had Tom Marshall on, because the Fuego's anniversary is what prompted me asking him to rank Phish albums that night. And Tim cringing and being like, dude, what are you doing?
And Tim being mad at you for interrupting him when he was talking about his daughter.
And Tom was like, I'd love to rank Phish albums.
I'd love to do that. And also at Halfway to the Moon, which is not my favorite, but it's not a bad Page song.
That one.
No, it's not one of your favorite Pages songs. I don't mind it.
Devotion to a Dream, underrated.
Yeah,
underrated. None of those songs are my songs. Maybe
I feel like I always felt like Waiting All Night could have been on Rift, because it just has that feeling of one of the slower Rift songs on there, like Lengthwise and a few of those. Like I've always felt like that was kind of a song.
Is that the one about Duluth? No, that's Half the Way to the Moon.
That's Half the Way to the Moon. Yeah. So
I want to make a promo clip of a TV show called Half the Way to the Moon, and we can have like footage of them driving into Duluth, like Duluth 5 miles, and make it like an old 70s sitcom kind of intro.
Maybe what we should do is combine two things and have it Halfway to the Moon Cabin.
Halfway to the Moon Cabin, the uncut, the Snyder version.
The beginning, no, it's like the prequel to Moon Cabin.
Yeah.
It's going to be in 2 parts.
Uh-huh.
Always with the 2 parts. All right, so Trey Trey has decided to like come out of his shell. I feel like every time you turn around, Trey's talking to somebody doing something. Did you get a chance to read through the article, the interview?
I think to that point, I think this was one of the better ones he's done. Not even recently, maybe ever. Like this was one of the most informative, interesting. Maybe that's because Jordan Hoffman did the interview and is actually a fan and actually knew kind of and had probably a good relationship with him talking and kind of got him to open up and felt comfortable with it. But probably one of the I'd love to hear the audio from it too. Like even his audio interviews with Ari are always so uncomfortable and serious and stuff. You're just like, oh God. So it was a really, really good read, like a really good read, really interesting, some good nuggets in there, some fun stuff about
he loves John Fishman.
Loves John Fishman, loves wooing. So all of you that hate wooing, me included.
Audience participation, man. He is all about it.
Loves it. Egging the woo. It's my new favorite thing to say. I love that. Egging the woo. Fantastic. I like how he talked about that whole section. Like we never like told people to chant Wilson. We never told people to woo during Twist. I was hoping he was going to mention like Benji's flyers and stuff, and we never had people, yelling the hood back to us and stuff like that. But it was interesting to hear. He does love the audience participation. I think it makes him feel like they're really connecting because he mentions that a lot in the article too about the fans, and he always brings up the fans and like the connection he has with the fans and those kind of things. So hey,
how much of a connection do you feel like? I mean, I don't know. I feel like his connection with the fans is like looking through an aquarium. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think to that point, sometimes, he always talks about they can have a plan and then they walk on stage and he sees things and it completely changes everything. I think they provide a real high energy to him. Like, I think it's got to be a real thing, a real feeling when you're up there and you feel that much love and dancing and energy of people enjoying your songs and your work coming back at you as you're throwing it all out at them. It has to, like, it just has to. And he loves playing so much as it is that I think any encouragement or anything that he sees with that, it has to be way too good.
Didn't he say, what did he say about Mike? Mike is Mike or something?
You never know. Like Mike's in his own dimension, so to speak, playing and whatever. And I will say,
where are you on them doing a Taylor Swift song? Because I think this is a bad idea.
I'm all for, like I've told you before, I'm all for them doing covers. I think it's hilarious. I love it. Like when they did anything, the Jay-Z stuff. I love all the old Led Zeppelin covers. I think it's fine. I think it would be funny. I think it has to be the appropriate time and place for it. I think if they had done it at the MSG, like he mentioned they were going to do it, I think that would have worked. I think that would have been funny. I love how Mike was the one that was the most bummed about that. I think that's funny too. But I don't know. I think it would have been fun. Again, it has to be the right place at the right time in the right moment for it to work or for it to kind of play off the way it should. But I'm all for it. I think it'd be fun. I love that they learned it and they have it in their back pocket to do sometime. I'm surprised they didn't do it if they had it, but
I do not know enough about Taylor Swift to even pick a song, so I didn't even recognize the song.
I didn't recognize the song Welcome to New York or something, I think was the song, but it would have worked because MSG opening up the run with it, I think that would have been funny and totally worked there. And SC No Trey did not, well, he did mention Taylor Swift because they talked about doing a song of hers and whatnot, but he did not mention Dave Grohl and it at all. And there's some good tidbits, so if you haven't read it, check it out on Vulture. It's really good. I love
Jordan Hoffman has been one a few times. He is a big Star Trek guy, big Phish guy. He's
cool, a great interview. And I mean, this just supports that. It was a great interview. Even getting him to talk about, like, to the point, Kev, about covers. Like they did the LA Woman cover. He talks all about that at the LA show. I was out at the Forum, and it
was not planned, huh?
It was not planned. And everybody kind of thought it was, like it definitely felt like I love it even more now knowing that it wasn't. And even then when I listened to it that night and the next day in the car with my buddy, I was like, he totally fucks up the lyrics. Like, it's maybe they didn't plan it, and we kind of throw that idea around, but you're like, how would they not plan it? Like, they're in LA, they saved Tweezer until that show on the tour as well. Like, that was the first Tweezer of the tour. So I don't know. It's pretty damn funny though that they were in the middle of the Tweezer jam and he just sort of heard the sounds of it and took the guitar there, and then him and Paige just knew the lyrics and kind of went into it, and then they fucked it up, and he was like, everyone thought we like intentionally did it, so he's like strutting the record state that we did not mean to play
So
it.
he's trying to save face, saying that they didn't plan it. They did plan it and just blew it.
Just fucked it up, and he just blew the second verse.
Shit
That's
the
so
bed.
funny, but I don't know. I think it's funny. I love it all. I think it's great. The interview was really fantastic. Llama, did you have something to say you were going to throw in there? Unmute yourself. Oh,
Llama is muted.
I was going to explain what Essie explained in the chat because people were confused.
Oh, yes. Dave Grohl taking a shot at Taylor, saying that she doesn't play live. He
accused her of Milli Vanilli-ing.
Well, you know, it's funny because it's not wrong. It's Trey even talks about it in the interview before the Sphere about like how hard it was to play the Sphere and like how, you know, how different they are playing anyway with CK5 all the time. And he's not set. Piper. He's not set to a click track like most of the time you are, and like the lights and like everything around you is set to timing and things like that. And they don't play to that. And I think Dave Grohl was sort of more or less insinuating that as well, that, hey, it's not exactly like a live rock show like what we do, or like improvised in places and like fun things. Like it's sort of all set up and done to a track, to what.
Did you see Taylor responded? The next night when she introduced her band, she said, playing every note for you every night or something like that.
Nice. I mean, I will say he kind of asked for it, but the reaction from people was, as you would expect, a little bit crazy, like calling him out and shit. You're like, dude.
Apparently his daughter gets into it with Taylor Swift sometimes, is what my kid was telling me. So there was some beef between his kid and the Swifties.
Oh, yeah? That's interesting. Well, so there's a little bit more into it and deeper than that, but them coming after him and saying shit about him. I mean, the guy barbecues for the homeless. He does a lot of outside things that, whatever. I mean, I'm not gonna get into it. I love him.
They both represent the biggest figures in their, you know, micro genres of pop music.
Yeah, I think she's a little bigger than him. But
I would not say Taylor is in a micro genre.
I would say she's a little macro.
Well, the micro genre of pop music that she's in, you know?
Right. I mean,
she does a very specific thing, doesn't she? I don't know that much about her.
Well, I mean, specific to pop music, which I mean is a little bit.
Are the albums interchangeable? Like, does every song sound kind of the same? Like, she has a Taylor Swift sound?
No, I don't think. No. And she definitely. I mean, she's a good, for what it's worth, a songwriter. I mean, she writes most of her songs, if not all of her songs, and I mean, I don't know. It was a little uncalled for. It's a little funny to take pot shots at somebody like the biggest, music star in the world to call her out on that, but whatever.
Interesting. Very interesting. So other people have been trying to get themselves interviewed. A couple of the Dead & Company guys did some interesting interviews, which basically said, yeah, we're going to do this forever.
Well, Mayer was a little bit more coy with his interview and saying that they haven't even chatted about going on after this. Bobby was a little bit more excited about hopefully going on. And I thought the interesting thing was, we'll kind of break them both down. Bobby talking about wanting the technology to get a little bit more advanced where they could play, you know, like they're used to, like not necessarily play the set list or have a few songs that they could change in and out and play in the moment, as opposed to having to know that you have to play the next song as the next song because of
you got 8 minutes before you got to get out.
Right. And so I think I think he's excited about what they could do. And as I said, like when I went talking to the guys at the Sphere, them talking about what's in the future for it and being able to do like the drones outside and more integrated things in it, I see that happening. I don't know if it would happen in the next year. It could. I mean, technology moves so fast these days. Maybe it does. And they do another run next year when it's more compatible to them for that. But I mean, it's definitely interesting to hear how much kind of the difference between them two, but how much they're enjoying doing it, and how, you know, Bobby kind of talked about the differences of playing on that stage and how loud the sound is coming back at you, and you really need to have the in-ears in because it's so loud of your music coming back at you because of the dome and the way the music bounces around the room and stuff, which I think is fascinating, and some of the things you don't always think about when it comes to like the technical
Mayer, the way it was saying in the Mayer article that he kind of was spearheading the visual part of it,
which I thought was really cool, because he was saying he lives in LA and there is like the mini sphere here where they do a lot of the pre stuff for it and everything. And he really talked about how he was involved in a lot of like how far to push it, like how some of it made him very nauseous and he didn't want to have that. And I liked how he talked about, he's like, oh, maybe I'll have a party sometime and invite everybody over that wants to like really get crazy with it and see how, you know, how nauseous you can get with some of the footage and stuff like that. But I liked him explaining how, first of all, how Mickey owns the drums part. Like Mickey always took charge of that, and that was always going to be his thing. And so he created what he created out of the drums thing, which is really cool. I thought the cool thing too was like talking about the takeoff, and that would always be sort of the plan thing, was taking off from the now in San Francisco and then taking you on the travel through space and time, and then coming back at a different time, coming back in the past, and you feeling like, oh, maybe we're now existing on a different timeline or something, that we came back at the wrong time but in the same place and that kind of thing. And so I think it's really cool that they had a story to tell with the visuals inside of it. You know, I thought that was really interesting to read. And the same thing with like taking people to Cornell or Egypt and him talking about how, you know, the Bobby, especially Bobby and Mickey, he talked to Bobby and Mickey about, you know, the Egypt visuals, and Bobby remembered like there was a lot of bats. So like they had the bats in there and like flying around because that was something that Bobby associated with. And so to have that in there, those callbacks, I thought it was really fascinating. It was very cool, man. I really liked reading both of their interviews were fascinating. I think it was funny though, hearing Bobby sort of being like, oh yeah, we definitely want to do it again. And Mayer being like, I don't know. We haven't really talked about it. We'll see. I'm down for it, I guess, but nobody said anything to me yet. So I don't know. We'll see.
I mean,
I
next year is 60 years.
Yeah.
You know.
They asked him about that too. So he didn't tip his cap to anything, but again, they never really do. He just sort of said, we'll see. And I mean, it was interesting too. You don't know how much of it, whatever, but them saying that after the last tour, this wasn't planned yet, right? Like it was sort of a kick around idea. And Mayer even thought like maybe in 2025 they would do it when it would be a little bit more technology and they would be a little bit more ready for it or whatever. So he was like, I'm surprised we did it this year. It kind of happened pretty fast. He's like, but that's the kind of cool thing about this band is like once we get going on something and have an idea, it really starts cranking through and we start doing it stuff. So I thought it was cool. I thought it was very cool.
And he was saying that the timeline's so short that you had no time but to doubt yourself. You just went through
and I love that too, though. He was saying about how he hates, you know, like trying to plan something and then taking downtime and waiting for it to happen. He was like very much like, hey, I love just going and getting it done and having to do it and knowing that we can't stop or we can't turn back and fix something. It's kind of like just going. If there's a problem, you got to work through the problem or figure out how to integrate the problem and keep going because there was no time to turn around. It was just sort of like, do it. So it was cool. Like both of their approaches were very interesting and very fun to read. And I love just hearing about sort of what it takes to do it at the Sphere, just like how interesting it is as far as the venue goes. And, you know, even just the whole thing, like it's such a fascinating venue and it's such a fascinating place to hear the musicians speak about it is kind of cool.
Do you think that it's getting easier? I mean, the Eagles, you know, there isn't much time before the Eagles run starts. They're already adding extra shows. Now you figure they're going to do one show every night. It's going to be the same visuals. But do you think, you know, it took U2 a year and a half. It took Phish however long. It took 6 months for Dead and Company. Now it's 4 months before the Eagles are going to do it. You know, they might have been thinking about it before it was announced, but I think it's getting easier because they have the technology and they built these probably programs in order to handle this now.
That was an interesting thing in the article too, though, them talking about that, how U2, you know, how U2's even engineers were like, I don't know how anyone else is ever going to do this because we've had 2 years or whatever to sort of plan and work with them and get this all integrated and figure it out. And even Phish didn't have that long and Dead & Co didn't have that long to sort of figure out how to sort of integrate, not nearly the time that U2 had. So yeah, Kev, I think the more companies that work on it and the more companies that are involved in it and learn this technology and learn what to do with it, I think the turnaround time can get a lot shorter. And I think that's a good thing, like I think, they talk about, even Dead & Co was mentioning that the render time takes forever. So even coming in, they need to have everything locked in by Wednesday night or whatever, and know that that's what's going to happen because we have to render everything out. We have to have things ready. We have to be able to do it. And even they were saying, the first 2 weeks, everything wasn't done yet. So like there was things to sprinkle in the next few weeks. And then Mayor even said in August, we plan on changing up a few more things for that last August run. So if you've gone these last 2 months or whatever it's been, and you're going
that's a different show.
Yeah, what you're going to see in August may have a lot of different cool visuals in there that they've been working on to get to there. And I think it was cool too the way John was talking about, like not to sell it off or anything, but it's and it really is just like Phish was, and it really is an in-house experience. Like you can't really describe it to people. You can't really, listening to the shows on Mixler and stuff doesn't do it justice. Like it really is an experience that you need to experience in person and see and be a part of, because it's fucking amazing. Like it really truly is. And then there's all the other aspects like the crowd and the music and all that shit, but just being in that venue and seeing what happens is very fucking cool. So
what was up with that poster?
Which one?
The one that had Kreutzmann's name listed on it, and then they were selling them and actually pulled them from the merch tables.
Yeah, they didn't know. It's so funny. I asked Benji about that at the Taper's Choice show. I was like, "Oh, did Billy see that poster?" He's like, "He did not." He's like, "I saw it and pulled it." And he's like, "I don't know if Billy ever heard it." He's like, "If Billy heard it, he would probably ask me what happened with it and why I didn't tell him about it." So he's like, "I'm hoping he doesn't find out about it or see it." But he was like, "Yeah, it was just a fuck up, and it happened."
Like, I think people like artists had made posters over years that they have a catalog of, and having to do a different poster every night, they might be pulling stuff that was done for Summer Tour 2015 and never used or something.
I am beyond impressed that they're doing a poster every night. Like that's crazy. I mean, it's crazy. I got one of the ones of the run. Like I got a run poster because the night we went, I didn't really like the one. The night
didn't
before
they have individual nights? Didn't each night have its own poster too?
Oh yeah, the night before us was the Mars Attack one. The night of ours was sort of the wall of sound mixed into the sphere with like speakers around it. It wasn't that great. And then the night after us was this fucking killer butterfly one that was so cool looking. But Alex and I were both like, man, I don't really like tonight. So we ended up getting like one of the ones that's a full run of the shows, which is cool. So, I mean, we went to like I said, the Dead Experience to get them, which is a great place to go get it because you can buy it and take it back to your room and not have to deal with it at the show. But they have the individual nights still up of ones that they still have. So like if you wanted one that was not from your night, you could still get one from a couple weeks ago. Then they have the run posters and they have like really bigger ones too. Like they had a huge one of the run. So yeah, but I'm impressed. Like there's a lot of posters.
Is it more important to you to have a poster with the date of a show you were at, or just a poster that's really cool looking?
I want ones that I was at. I want ones that I was at. Like to me, it's the ones that you're at, or at least a part of one that you were at. Totally. I mean, I've gotten shirts that I wasn't at, like the Phish. Like I got one of the the Banger Main one or whatever with the beaver on it. I love that shirt. Like it cracks me up. So like I do have a couple shirts of shows that I haven't been to because I think that's a little different. But posters, I feel like that's sort of a personal thing. I don't know. I'm sure
I'm not a fan of putting venues, even whole tours on shirts. I want the band's logo or whatever on the front. I don't need the dates on the back, or even a specific show.
You don't like looking back though at a tour that you saw maybe in like 20, like I have an 09 shirt of Phish from Red Rocks, like when they finally came back, and I'll break that shirt out every now and then. And I'm like, oh man, it's so like nostalgic to see like the shirt's 25 years old or whatever now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Sometimes it's fun. And when you buy it at the time, like I always remember the first Phish shirt I ever got at my first show at Red Rocks in 93. It said Phish 1993, right? Like it was the Phish logo, and then underneath it said 1993. I fucking hated it at the time. I was like, I don't want it to say 1993. I just wanted the Phish logo on it. So I took it home and tie-dyed it so it looked different than just like the white shirt, and like tried to make it look different. And then I ended up just kind of throwing it in my closet for like years. And then when they came back in 09, I was like, oh, I'm going to break this thing out, you know? And then you start wearing it now. People are like, oh, 93, that's pretty sweet. And you're like,
dude, that's cool.
right, and it still sort of fits. It's a little small, but but you're like, yeah, 93, awesome. Like I still have my dead, from Vegas 95 shirt too that I like to break out every now and then. And it's just fun to like, have that. But I agree. Like sometimes you get lot shirts from shows you were at, and you remember that show because it's just one of the lot shirts that you got at that show too. So,
Well, I got a shirt at Hampton in '97, I guess, and it says Cities, and it's the Fraser logo, but it says Cities instead of Fraser. And on the back, it has all the places they played. They spelled Hampton wrong. They left the P out of it and spelled it Hamton.
Those are the best ones. Like when you get the lot shirts with misspellings on them and like weird logo, like weird looking pictures of them and shit. And you're like,
just a little off. Yeah.
Yeah, just a little off. Like I love that. Hey, a lot of 97 shirts out there. 97. See, I love that. I love that you guys like, I dig that. I dig fall 2000. Totally. Yeah, I agree. I love having fucking shirts and merch that has that shit.
We saw another article pop up. Let's circle back to the Sphere about a band who had expressed interest about playing there. The Who. What do you think of The Who playing there?
I think it would be loud. I hope it would be loud. I don't know. You can't really. You're not supposed to smoke weed in there, so I guess Daltrey would be happy with that. Right?
Well, people know the set list.
Wouldn't have to complain, right? You could, you set list. I don't know. I mean, it's so funny that it's all these like nostalgia bands. Like I hate to say that, but like it's all these like bands that you wouldn't expect.
Because the boomers and the late Gen X people have the disposable income now.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's so crazy that it's like these kind of bands. I don't know. I think a band, if you're going to go that route too, I think two bands that come to mind that you wouldn't get there now, but would have been sweet at some point would have been like Genesis would have been fantastic there. I feel like that noise and that sound there, and Yes would have been fucking fantastic in there. Too great because who?
Pink Floyd.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's the sound. Because just like even Mayer talks about it in his article about the sound with the drums, and I said the same thing. Like you need the extra oomph on the drums because those things were always so intense, and you get the through your body anyway. But you get it there, and you're like sitting in the seat, and your butt's vibrating and shit. It's super cool. And bands like that, like Yes, that plays around with that and has that proggy sound and that cool little atmospheric thing going on. Same with Genesis would be dope in a place like that. So I don't know. I'm surprised there's not more modern acts that want to play there or like more.
But who?
I don't know.
Besides a Beyonce, a Taylor Swift, a Beyonce kind of thing.
Taylor's Choice, you do the liquid lights like they did at Choice Fest. They got the prog sound.
I like it, Lama. It's funny you mentioned that because Bobby mentions that in his article, the liquid lights. And he's like, when we used to do the acid tests, the liquid lights would sort of be synced up to the way we were jamming and to the jams. And he's like, that's what I kind of want with the Sphere. So that would be kind of a cool thing if you could bring back like the way the guys did it at the tape at Choice Fest 2. That was so dope, standing next to those guys and watching them make it that was really cool. So if you could do something like that, that would be pretty sweet. Maybe they will do something like that coming on. MMJ, that's not bad.
Now, let me ask you: does somebody like a Beyonce? Did they have the visual to demand to use something like the Sphere? We're saying even a Who, but I'm thinking we're like an Iron Maiden has all this iconography. The Grateful Dead have all this iconography, so it just lends itself to let's dive into this rich catalog you have. Whereas Beyonce, you're going to be using, I think, more effects like you would in a live concert.
Yeah,
she's got a deep catalog going back 20 plus years, man.
But the visuals,
does she have iconography? Does she have like an Eddie, or does she have an Uncle Sam?
The visuals, I think Lady Gaga could get away with it because she kind of has a little bit more of that, and I could totally see her playing there. Like that would make sense to me. I saw the thing about George Strait. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Like, yes,
the George Strait Edge show.
Billy Joel makes sense because of his relationship with MSG. I could see that happening, and that's kind of that crowd. I don't know his visuals, what they would necessarily be like. Garth Brooks, sure, like he brings them in. I could see that. That's not bad. Radiohead,
Queens of the Stone Age.
Into the Stone Age. I mean, it needs to. I just don't know. Like the thing is just like everybody talks about. I mean, yes, Tool. I still don't know. They should. They have the visuals and the music to do that. It would be terrifying, but it would be awesome. Like they could definitely do it.
Tool would be scary. Tool would like screw people's lives up. They'd walk out of there like,
terrifying. Like you don't need those things like that big going around you. Like
I'm gonna throw in a wild card.
Okay.
Glass animals.
Ugh.
You know who you really need to get back together probably, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Kiss, I think could totally work at the Sphere.
Yeah, I think one thing that you need to have, and I don't know how it really works with like bigger rock bands too, is that in-ear monitor thing. You know what I mean? Like you really have to know. You have to be used to playing like or know how to play like that and have the stripped down stage and understand like Bobby was talking about the music coming back at you and how you don't really hear each other and stuff like that. So I guess that technical parts kind of play an issue into it, but I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm just surprised there's not more rumors about newer bands or bands wanting to play there yet. I mean,
now do you think a Goose could play there?
I do. I think eventually, definitely. I see that. I don't know if their fans would be willing to shell out the money for that just yet, because like their ticket prices.
And they got people on tour with them. They got like a whole gaggle running around the country after them.
Yeah. Yes and no, though. I mean, you have to be able to fill it for how many nights or like do a run there. It's not exactly like a place you just come in for a couple shows and do. Although I guess maybe once the technology is there, you could get away with doing a weekend, but it seems like
you got at least I figure 4 shows is the minimum, like Phish did.
I think agree.
You could get away with doing 4 shows and get enough people to show up for it.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it's funny. It's like the Stones, right? Like you see, the Stones should play there, but their stage is so big, and Mick needs so much room to run around, and they're not built to be on this little square. So you'd have to do something new with the stage, which would then, I don't know, fuck with the floor. I guess you could build out a thing on the floor and make it different. I'm interested to see the first band that does go in there and do something different with the stage, because everyone's kind of done the same stripped down U2, Phish, and now the Dead. It's very just them on this little platform of a stage. I'm waiting for somebody to come in there and like maybe grow that. I'm sure the Eagles will be the same way. I'm sure it'll be a small stage, but it's just very funny to me. We said it before that if you would have told me the next 3 bands after U2 would be Phish, the Dead, and the Eagles, I'd have been like, what? Like, who? Why? So it's definitely interesting to me. Like, it's
Rolling
crazy.
Stones, huh?
Well, I mean, the Who. The Who. The thing is with the Who, Kev. I think the thing is with the Who is it makes sense on the stage wise because they don't need a big stage, right? Like they can get away with that stripped down stage and just rock, and then have some like I don't know iconic British graphics up there and shit like that. And
Well,
Tommy,
I mean, all the Tommy stuff, like Tommy was a movie, Quadrophenia was a movie, you know.
Yeah, I mean that would make sense. You could probably do that. I could see that maybe.
What would you think of multi-band shows? You get like a couple like big names, but not big enough, and get them to play together.
You mean like a festival type situation?
Yeah, almost like maybe you have 3 bands, an opener, a mid, and then a bigger name for the headliner.
Just the Warped Tour.
There's no moshing above the 100 level. Let me tell you that. But yeah, I don't know. I think if they were going to, again, I think it comes down to the graphics. I think if they were going to use the same graphics so they could render out knowing what each one was going to play, I would honestly think bands like that would be good. Like those, you know, kind of like the 3-minute kind of 2000s, like not like in the Blink 182 vein, like those kind of bands, because their songs are so short. It's easy to get the graphics. You know, the set list is the same. It's easy to put those 3.5 minutes of graphics up. You could tear through them and be done. So I don't know.
And then you run it for 2 weeks. You do 6 shows, 8 shows over 2 weeks.
Right, totally. I mean,
Blink 182, you get 311. You get 311, Blink 182, and Maroon 5, and you can call it the Numbers Show or something.
There you go. I think the Chili Peppers could definitely do it. I think they could easily do it in a couple with the stage, the graphics, like all that shit. I think that would be a really cool show.
It's just gonna be California, the whole fucking sphere. Like, why?
Just shots of California. Yeah, that would be cool though. Like, I don't know. We'll see. It's interesting. It's an interesting thing to think about and to see who can pull it off and come there next and do it. Like, I'm interested to see what happens with the Eagles. Like, I think it'll be their graphics and their set lists and all that stuff. I mean, I don't want to see them whatsoever. I'm not an Eagles fan at all, but I am interested just to see how they play and the fact that they must be selling good because they extended the run already. So good for them. Like, good for the Sphere and good for them. GNR, right. I don't know if it would really work in there with their sound. Rush would be fucking fantastic.
AC/DC?
AC/DC.
Talking Heads.
I just don't see them touring. Like, after hearing them talk and then doing everything, I don't see them ever playing together again, honestly. Like, I thought
we were just imagining shit.
Well, yeah, if we're imagining shit, that would be awesome. They would be awesome. Yes. That would be a hell of a show. Regardless. Yes. Totally.
Right. So with no Phish playing this fall, Goose decided to drop a pretty big tour. They're really trying. I feel like they're really going to lean into it. That, hey, no Phish, come see us.
Yeah. At least somebody's touring, I guess. I mean, why not do it when Phish isn't doing it? Like I said before,
they're doing a Halloween.
Halloween, they're doing Goose Miss again. So I mean, it makes sense. I don't know. Why not keep touring? Like, they're on fire. Like, although, as somebody pointed out and we mentioned, their ticket sales haven't been great on this tour so far and have kind of dropped. So I don't know, maybe if they've peaked or if it's like just sort of the summer
oversaturated.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
but they didn't play the first 3 or 4 months of this year. You would figure that if there was the demand, that the summer would have sold out.
We kind of live in a shit economy, so.
But that was also because they had
a show is going to be the first thing on my budget to go.
Yeah, they also had a new drummer they needed to get warmed up and practiced in before they could go out touring, and they still tried to do a few things, to release that slowly and do that. So, like, I think that was part of the reason we're taking that off, and I think maybe that's why they're extra touring, so to speak, because they didn't tour the first half of the year, so they're kind of making up for it in the second half of the year and later on. I'm gonna just this is an interesting point. I did talk to the guy when we were there about movies because we talked about movie premieres there, and the problem with it is you don't get the full screen. Like, you get it with the one that Aronofsky shot because he shot it to be in the Sphere and to be that way. But regular movies have to be shot in the special Sphere, whatever. It's like IMAX, so to speak, but even bigger than IMAX. And so you wouldn't get the whole projection on it. You would, like, what they do is they said, because they've been talking about trying to host movie premieres there, is it would be boxed in the middle of the screen. So you would have a lot of blank space around where the movie was playing on it. It would still look fucking, it would look weird, but the movie, I think, playing would still look pretty cool. Unless you're like way up in maybe the 400s, it'd kind of look weird. It'd still have to be giganticized a little bit more to not just be in the theater box. So it's something that I'm sure they're working on, and I wouldn't be surprised if eventually we don't have movie premieres there at some point, but it's a very tricky thing. And the guy was explaining the whole thing about the conversion and all this shit as far as the graphics go and putting a movie in there, because I was fascinated. I was like, why don't you just play a regular movie in here? He's like, well, it doesn't really work. And even the Aronofsky thing with the Life on Earth, we talked about the giraffes and things like that. When you watch it and their heads go all the way up and around you, it's very strange. Like, it's a very odd look. It encapsulates you, but it's still like very kind of weird to see the thing where it like kind of starts to arch over and bend a little bit. So I don't know. The graphics, like what they've done with the music, is a lot cooler, I think, than movies yet. But I mean, it would be pretty sweet. The sound in there would be awesome for movies. The seats are pretty sweet. So eventually, I'm sure years down the road, it's going to be a multi-use facility for all kinds of shit. I mean, they're doing the NHL draft in there in a couple weeks, for God's sakes, which is weird, but okay. And I told you guys, the guys that were in our Box With Us are dying for MMA to be there. I'm sure MMA will be there soon too. They'll have fights in there, which will be very strange as well. But whatever. They need to make money and use it however. So I don't know.
And there
I don't
you
know,
go.
Kev. I don't know.
So
What else you got? What else we got?
We got a couple weird things going on out on the road. Willie Nelson has taken ill. They didn't specify what it was, but he's missed 4 shows. Believe he's missing the show tonight, possibly a couple more. And his son's band has been playing. Other people have been coming and stepping up and doing like a jam set to close out instead of Willie's set. But I found that interesting, and I send
Willie.
out our love to Willie.
Get well, Willie. Can't afford that. That's not great.
And then somebody canceled the rest of their tour.
Hey, wait, we don't have the intro for it yet, but where's the Neil Young minute? That's
exactly.
This is it, right, Kev? Give us your Neil Young minute.
They dropped an announcement today saying that the rest of the tour would be canceled and they were going to reschedule, that a couple people got sick after the Cobb Arena show in Detroit, and that's all they said about it. So I don't know if Neil got sick, if it was other guys in the band. And there's your Neil Young minute.
There's your Neil Young minute. That's just it. Oh yeah, we also Bob Dylan played first new set.
Oh yeah, years. Dylan, and he's been busting out some cool tunes.
Busting out some cool tunes, indeed. Yes, that's been impressive. It's
what happened.
Fresh Dylan. You flipped out a little bit there, but yeah, Fresh Dylan.
Yes.
yes. Oh yeah, there you go. See, September 14th. I knew it was coming soon.
I got to take my kid.
Go ahead.
Got to take my kid to see Dylan. She really wants to go. I figure I got to do it the next time he comes around, because there can't be that many go arounds, that many more.
The crazy horse flu. Exactly. That's exactly what's going through the Neil Young shit. Hey, Kev, are you going to see Goose in DC on the fall tour?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
No, probably not. Maybe. I'm not planning on it. If someone calls me up the week before and says I got a ticket, of course I'm going to go. But no, I did not hop in line today on the Ticketmaster and try to get the tickets. They're playing the Anthem, which is a tiny place. I find it strange. They played Patriot Center last time. This is a smaller venue.
Well, someone just offered Kev a ride and a ticket, and he'll be there. He can go see Goose. I'm sure Tim has already floated the idea of doing after shows for the fall tour, so we'll see.
We got to do something.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a long fall without Phish tour. So
they don't have enough songs yet, man. They need like at least another 30 songs in their song pool.
Goose?
Yeah. Like 30 more originals.
30.
Then talk to me.
30?
Yeah.
30? I mean,
at this point, they should have a lot more originals than they do.
You think? When was their last album? When was their last album?
The one with Hunger Sight on it, or whatever that was called.
What, Llama?
Dripfield.
When did that come out?
Like 2 or 3 Goosemasses ago. So
really? So I guess they are kind of.
It was probably 2 years ago. Yeah.
So I guess they are kind of due for one. I see. They need less songs. Play less songs. They did a 3-song set the other night.
But it was under an hour. Does it count if it's under an hour?
Not really. Because what is that? Like maybe, what was it, like 25 minutes?
Phish has done some four-song second sets that were like 58 minutes, and you're like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, really? That's only 4 15-minute songs. That really isn't that impressive. It isn't 4 half-hour songs where you're like, damn, they played for 2 hours. That was tight.
Right. So true. But I don't know. We'll see. I think they are due for now. It's funny that they haven't put one out. I mean, they're still busy touring. I guess that's why. But their new album will be with the new drummer. So I mean, maybe eventually we'll get something with him. And you would think they'd want to do that.
how prolific was Phish up through in the first 10 years?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
think of how many songs they had by the time it was 93, by the time Riff came out.
And also, like, doing the wook clubs that we've been doing, especially some of the 1.0 ones that we've had, like from 90, 95s, 97s, how much the band changed, like how much the music changed, how much they changed in those every year almost, like from tour to tour, from 93 to 96, how different they sounded, 97 fall, how different they sounded. So it's funny to think about that and where Goose is, I guess, to say, like, have they changed that much? Have they, other than getting a new drummer and sort of that changing the sound a little bit, have they?
Right. And they keep adding new songs that are songs from their former bands.
Right.
So they're trying to pad it out that way a little.
And I like their covers are kind of fun too. Like we talk, like,
oh man, I can't stand the covers. They do Love Is a Battlefield.
What do you mean?
What you got, Llama?
Go ahead, Llama.
I was gonna say, if we're talking bird bands, Geese is where it's at.
Yeah.
No,
did you go see them?
Yeah, I saw them in Madison. It was amazing. Like it was a show. Yeah.
What about
it was like a good rock show too.
What about Puffin?
Sorry, Kevin, I keep talking at the same time. How big was the venue?
The venue was probably twice the size of Gold Diggers.
Okay, so not that big, pretty small. That's fairly
500,
maybe 1,000.
Was
I
it
bet
packed?
you Jason will have it in the. Yeah, it was the most packed that Jason had ever seen it. So
nice. Did you see Jason there?
Yeah, he gave me a ride.
Oh, nice. Oh, I love that.
And a place to stay.
Oh, what a guy. That guy.
Great
guy. Music, gives you rides. What a guy.
Yeah.
That's awesome, but they were good. It was a good show. That's cool to hear.
Yeah,
I like hearing that.
It was really great.
Better than Goose?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And weird. It was improvisational, but weird at times. It was didn't know where things were going.
Yeah.
Yeah. They get a little out there.
That's cool. Was it like a two-set show?
No, just one set.
One set. Okay.
Love that.
Yeah.
So maybe they need to
opening bands.
Yeah, there was
openers.
Yeah.
I like when you get when you get 3 or even 4 bands on a bill and it's like a half hour. Someone plays 45 minutes, someone plays an hour. You're only there 3 hours, but you got to see 4 different bands.
Chuck, you were there too at the Geese show? Look at that.
Oh.
All right. Nice. Very cool.
If only people knew what Llama looked like, they might have come up and said hello.
And saw him, I know. Maybe we need to get them touring with doing a show with Taper's Choice then, because it sounds like they kind of fill the same sort of venues and could play like sort of together.
Yeah, Taper's Choice covered one of their songs.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Which one?
Low Error.
Okay.
They did it 4/24/22. Their James Hollywood debut.
Okay.
Phish after show, yeah.
Nice. Very cool.
There you go.
That's cool.
All right.
Geese is opening for King Gizzard in August. That's cool. Right
on. Interesting.
Okay. Cool to know.
So
that is cool.
I believe this week sometime the Lemon Wheel thing Tim has been working on is probably going to pop out from what we hear. And then a Fuego. We're still going to get through them. It's just been a little slow going. It's been so hot. You know, earlier I saw a cat chasing a rabbit and they were both walking.
There's Kev's joke. He's been waiting to load up all night. There it was. Dun-dun-dun. Tip your waiters. Try the Salisbury steak, everybody.
Try the veal.
Yeah, we
tomorrow,
didn't really do a halftime, Kev. Why don't you do housekeeping real quick?
Yeah, what do we got tomorrow at 1 o'clock?
Tomorrow at 1 o'clock, we got Panels and Frames. We're going to break down another week in the box office with Inside Out 2 dominating. We'll talk a little Acolyte, last night's episode, which we'll save to discuss until then. And a few more Marvel, DC things. Some Superman photos came out. Some announcements about some more shows, Batman animated series. You know, all things pop culture, comic book wise, movies, all that good stuff. Streaming shows, Little House of the Dragon probably. So join us at 1 Eastern, 10 Pacific, if that's your groove. We'll be doing other panels and frames. And then what do we got this weekend?
Tuesday. I think Tuesday's a special Wook Club, isn't it?
Tuesday is a special Wook Club. It's the first of the month, which means it's Grateful Dead Week. What? Yay. Yay. So Kevin and I will be there ready to break down. What was it? 620. I can't remember the date.
619 something.
Six.
Whatever the Mile High show is from 90.
Yeah, if you look up the Mile High show, I think it was
622, 628. Let's just throw out random numbers.
620 something. We should have it down. I should have it. 628. He called it. Well, I'm a nice call. 628.91.
Nice.
628.91 is the Dead show for next Tuesday.
And that was your first show, right?
That was my first Dead show, so that's why we're going to review it. Santana opened the show. We won't review his set, but he opened the show, and then it was my first Dead show. It was a fantastic night. We'll talk all about it. And then the week after that is our last Phish Wook Club before the tour starts. So we only got 2 more weeks of Wook Club before tour. So get them in. Do your homework before tour starts.
And with tour coming up, look, we're probably going to try to bust out a lot on the first night of tour, which will be a Friday night. I'm probably Liv will disappear because Wednesday nights are going to be shows. Maybe we'll do a lot on Wednesday nights early or something.
Yeah, maybe we'll have some guests on or some people. We'll definitely be doing member hangs though, and intermission member hangs during the tour for sure. So if you're a member, get ready to hang out with us during intermissions and Friday member hangs.
Make sure that you follow us on socials. We're all over. All the stuff pops up on all the socials. If you want to be a member, you got to be on your PC or your laptop. And you go to the YouTube site and you can become a member. It's $2.99 a month. We do Friday hangs normally. We do these set break hangs, other special Taper's Choice videos, other special stuff pops up in there. And also just subscribe to the channel. If, I get it, $2.99 is a lot. I can buy my latte.
That like button.
What, llama?
Hit that like button.
Hit that like button, subscribe, so you don't miss anything.
Comment. Make sure you leave a comment if you're watching this later. Let us know that our AI is not pronouncing live right.
That's all Chad, man. Give Chad props. Chad and
That's
Jason.
what you call closing the circle.
That's closing the circle right there. Thanks for watching, everybody. Join us tomorrow. Join us next week. Have a good one. Take care.
We love you.
We love you. Right around the corner. Get excited. Hoping to make St. Louis. I think that's the only other freaking one that you're going to be able to see this year. Sit, Scoot, sit.